Hello and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. This is episode 439. My name is Emily Rainbow Davis. Welcome to the blogcast. I am happy you're here. Today's blog is about crossing the street. Mostly. It is actually, of course, bigger than that, but it was inspired by my crossing of a street or my attempt to cross the street. I did eventually cross the street, so I guess it is about the crossing of the street. In any case, it is a little thing that became a big thing the more I thought about it. And let me read it to you. It is called Wave Him Through. As I stood on the corner, waiting for a walk signal, a tall man in a long coat came to stand next to me. When the light changed, I started to go, but then noticed that this man next to me was waving a car to go ahead of him into the street before us. The car hesitated. I suspect the car could see that there were two of us waiting to cross, only one of whom was waving, and pedestrians have the right of way. The tall man was insistent, however, and the car drove through the crosswalk down the street. The tall man strode on ahead, clearly pleased with his magnanimity, and I crossed the street behind him, absolutely furious, glaring all the way. There's something about this exchange which feels very much of the current moment. White men with privilege and power wave each other ahead with no thought to anyone else who might be in the crosswalk. A man on the street sees a man in a car and thinks, I'll be nice to that man. And the man in the car probably recognizes that he shouldn't go. There's a woman in the crosswalk who did not agree to this transgression of traffic rules, but he goes anyway because there is some kind of code or agreement between them. And the tall man in the long coat has earbuds blocking his ears, so he can't even hear me shout, "What the fuck, man?" I've been thinking about it, and it feels like it explains a lot about power. The man in the car has the most power. He could easily run either of us over. But we have rules in place to keep the power of the car guy in check. We have lights and stop signs and rules about who has the right of way. Pedestrians, always. The tall man has less power than the man in the car, and perhaps that makes him uncomfortable. So he has to raise his own power by giving his right of way to the man in the car. He takes some of the man in the car's power by giving his to him for a moment. He raises his status by this gift to the man with more power. It's a status transaction. And any bystanders caught in the results are of no consequence to him. He could have waved that car into a mother pushing a baby carriage. He didn't look. He was not aware there was anyone else in the vicinity because this power exchange was his only interest. It feels like that is what our government is in the midst of now. Just men with power giving each other gifts of more power and status, waving each other through intersections, heedless of the rules, the guardrails, and all the people who will be in the path. Or worse, seeing the destruction of other people as another gift. This is not the first man to wave a car into my path, and I suspect it will not be the last. I would just keep walking, but I fear that a lot of folks have developed a taste for running people over in the last bunch of years, and I'd really prefer to live to cross further streets. Preferably without guys like this around. I think the part that drove me craziest was like how pleased with himself the guy who waved the other guy through was, like, or seemed to be. I don't know. I did a lot of projecting, of course, but he did seem to have like a little extra pep in his step as he walked on ahead, you know? And I was like, what? Come on, man. You just made me wait for no good reason. What the hell? I don't know. I've seen it happen several times before, and it makes me crazy every single time. Yeah. Anyway, they are pleased with themselves, aren't they? That's the real kicker. It's like how they really feel like they're being helpful. And they are being helpful to like Vladimir Putin and various other oligarchs and their buddies, that they are helping them, I'm sure, quite a lot. It's just the rest of us that will get run down by the car. Anyway. So, what song am I going to give you? Well, I explored a lot of options. I tried to find a song about like giving way or giving, space, or I don't know. There weren't a lot in the exact realm. This is not a thing people write songs about, obviously. And there are some great songs about green lights. Beyonce has a great green light song, which I'd never heard before. And I found one by someone called Lady Brie, I think it's Brie, who was delightful. The song was really fun, and it actually kind of perfect, but I did not think there was a chance I was going to be able to do it any justice in the time allotted. So I just recommend it to you if you feel like listening to some upbeat, fun songs about green lights. Those two are a good time. What I did decide to do is the only song I knew already, so I could learn it quickly. And that is Walk On By Cake. I'm a big fan of Cake. Both the band and the food. But I have seen Cake perform a few times, and they are a real good time in concert if you ever get a chance. But I did know this song before, so it was a little easier to just like do it. The content of the song has nothing to do with this post. Like it's like a mournful love song. It's not about a jerk letting another jerk through. But it is called Walk On By, which is what was happening. So I went with it. So I'm going to play that for you in just a minute. Meanwhile, thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, that makes me feel great. Please tell someone about it. Like, review, subscribe, do anything you might do for any other podcast. That would help this one also. And if you'd like to support it, that would be so cool. The way to do that with money is patreon.com/Emily R. Davis. That's top of the line support, but you could also support me on Ko-fi, on PayPal. I'm also on Substack. You could do a paid subscription on Substack if you felt like it. And if you have a place that you like to support artists that I'm not on already, please let me know about it. I will join it. I'm very happy to. But mostly, I thank you for your ears, your attention, for being on this journey with me, and for not waving any cars into my path. Thank you. Okay, so we're getting a little loopy here, I think, in the United States, some of us. So maybe everybody's great. I don't know, but I'm little loopy today. But I will play you now Cake's Walk On By. Walk on by the house where you still live. Walk on by the place where we would kiss, and the room where I held you just walk on by. Somehow I know that I won't forget you, no.